I don't know if you remember this. You have to. I mean, you're gonna remember when I say it, but 1994 in Times Square, going to see Wayne's World 2.
Oh my God, dude!
So we
I do remember this.
the setup is we went to Sundance and we sold Clerks and Bob Hawke was one of the people who was instrumental in getting us Sundance and he lived in New York City and now you're way more familiar with New York City at this point than I am. I had spent some time. I mean, I'd gone in there on a few day trips and stuff while we were making the movie, but at that point we were in New Jersey, and Bob wanted to hang out in New York, and so he was like, we were all like, he wanted to go see Wayne's World 2.
Right.
And so he was like, meet me in Times Square, which is not the Times Square of today.
No, the Times Square, like, if you've ever been to the Los Angeles area and you've ever gone up to Universal City Walk, Universal Studios, up by Universal Studios, they built this promenade, shopping district, restaurants, clubs.
Yeah.
Call it Universal City Walk. There's a big movie theater up there. They got an IMAX screen and shit like that. It's kind of like an outdoor mall, but like not like where you would seriously go to shop for school clothes or something like that.
Yeah.
And they built it, and when they constructed it, it was their version, their glitzy version of Times Square, they called it.
Yeah.
Like their idea of like a perfect Times Square. And I remember going there the first time after they built it and being like, they think this is what Times Square looks like? Times Square is a shithole. And then ironically enough, Times Square, when Disney bought up that fucking 42nd Street property, they bought almost the whole block, it wound up fucking looking like Universal City Walk. So now Times Square went from being like that wonderful, dirty fucking, there's a nudie booth joint, you could watch a fucking fuck show and a pussy show and strip joints and shit. Like, Giuliani came and cleaned that shit up. First he made it like you had to, in order to have some kind of seller's license, you had to be able to sell, a certain percentage had to be viable merchandise, non-sexually oriented. So you would go into like these dirty porn shops that used to be all about fucking dildos and double dongs and shit, and suddenly they had like Statue of Liberty trophies and little tchotchkes. And then they just kind of moved out because I don't think you can really sustain a living fucking selling that kind of shit. And then the age of the internet, you can buy a double dong online, nobody gets to see it. But it went from being this fucking shitty rat hole that had some character in terms of like, ooh, it's dirty. It felt grown up going to Times Square and whatnot, to looking like Universal City Walk. It's I mean, it's safe to walk around in now. Like, there's a fucking Target and a Chevy's there. You know, not to mention all those theaters, of course, and two massive movie theaters, and just very well lit up, very safe to walk around in, but none of the character that it used to have. But we walked on that fucking. We were in Times Square when it was before. It was pre.
It was 94. It was February of 94.
It was pre-urban redevelopment.
Yeah.
So it was still shitty.
And I was still like, I
was a country boy.
I was a country boy. I had a piece of hay in my mouth and fucking stars in my eyes.
You were the Woody Boyd of Canada.
I was, and I remember we were meeting him down there, and we parked the car, and then we walked up to the theater.
Why we picked that theater? Well, I mean, it's
Bob
like
picked that theater.
Bob picked it.
I'm gonna put the blame on Bob.
Leave it to like a fucking 60-year-old queen to put us in.
Who never fucking showed up.
No, that was the other thing. He fucking burned us that night.
We were walking up to the theater, and this guy comes up to me and says, or us, I think it was me, because he was just like, that guy doesn't fucking know anything. And
well, so he looks at, I'm sure he looks at us and he's just like, it's either the fat one who could probably hurl himself at me, or fucking the little guy. I'm going for the little guy.
And so he said, do you wanna buy some shit? And I was like, no thanks. And I was polite, and then he
politeness gives you nothing.
He doesn't. He shoved something in my pocket. He shoved like a piece of Kleenex in my pocket, and he's like, "Give me $20 or give me some money." And I was like,
"It was a coat pocket. It wasn't your pants pocket."
Yeah, it wasn't my pants pocket. It was my coat pocket. And so he puts it in there.
At that point, people are like, "How'd you let him get in your pants pocket?"
Yeah. And so I start to reach in there and be like, no, I don't want it. And then I think you kind of, at that point, we separated a little bit. Because,
I did the Atlantis move, dude, where I was just, I sensed danger, and I start smoking a few steps ahead. I'm like, you're on your own.
Because I had spent so much time in Canada, I had the same assumption that I was like, this nice man wants to sell me some pot. No, thank you. Here's your Kleenex bag.
The 2 times that I was involved in a mugging, or what I thought was going to be a mugging, Canadians at my side.
don't walk in darkly lit areas with Canadians in the United States.
Or don't hang out with me on a dark city street because pussy will run. That's it.
And I remember I was like trying to pull it out, and so when I reached in my pocket to pull the Kleenex out, he had
a knife?
An X-Acto knife.
Oh God!
He had an X-Acto knife, and he had it like tucked up in his sleeve, so it was kind of hidden. And
so like a Captain Hook, like a kid when he plays Captain Hook,
except for it was an inch long
and not made of rubber.
Yeah. And so he was just like, he's like. And he wouldn't let me pull the thing out. And then like I remember you turn around and you were like, "What's going on?" He's just like, "Fucking give me the money." He's like, "Give me money." And I was like, I literally didn't have any money. And I was like, "I don't have any money." And he was like, and everyone's yelling. And it's in the middle of the fucking sidewalk. It's not like we were in an alley by a dumpster. We're in.
It was in the middle of 42nd Street.
Yeah, we were right by the movie theater, and I was like, I don't have any money. And then you came in, and you were like,
was I crying?
You weren't crying.
That was coming.
And you said,
I was like, give me that Kleenex you just stuffed in your pocket.
And you grabbed money out of your wallet, like $40, and you were like, here. You like handed him the money, like, here, take the money. And then things got loud, and I remember you were like, you said, here, take the money. He's like, give me more. And you're just like, take the fucking money, just take the money. And then when you started shouting, you're like, take the fucking money. And then we just started walking, and we walked right by him, and then we walked right into the theater to go see the movie. So then we literally sit through Wayne's World 2.
A horrible movie to begin with, made more horrible.
And so we're in the theater, and we watch Wayne's World 2. And I don't know how much we enjoyed it or not. And I don't know if that was the movie or because we were still like afraid.
I remember talking about the whole movie. And it was a pretty empty theater, too. And I remember saying at one point, like, he might come in here. Because now we had $40 to buy a ticket and keep mugging us.
Well, here's the part, and I don't think you remember this. So we're walking out, and it's like the theaters are like you walk in the lobby, and then you go up these stairs to go to the theater. And we're coming down.
That theater doesn't even exist anymore.
And then we're coming down the stairs, and I wasn't paying attention, but you turned to me, and you're just like, I think I fucking saw the guy. And I was like, what? And I was like, I fucking saw him. I saw him. He just saw us, and he ran off. And I was like, what? And you were like, he fucking just saw us. He's waiting for us to come out. So we sat in the lobby for like 30 minutes. And we're trying to figure out, like, what the fuck are we going to do? And we're just like, all right, we're gonna walk out, and the car was like probably 2 blocks away.
Totally, it was, yeah, because it was. I remember it was in this lot that was like around the block and down the block.
And so I think we literally fucking
we did a dash, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
we got outside and we took a sprint, and we were running. And
I remember that. I remember seeing that. I remember saying that I saw the dude, and I think I did see the dude. And in my head, I was working it out like, boy, that dude, he got 40 out of us. He knew we had probably more money. If I was willing to give him $40 to fucking leave us alone, probably would have more. And when I saw him do a dash, or who I thought was the dude do a dash, I thought he was going to get his crew to fucking, like, you know, outnumber us and shit like that.
And then so we go up, we hit the door, we leave the door, and we're fucking sprinting. And I can only imagine what all the people in the street are like, oh, what are these two?
I bet you those two dudes robbed somebody.
Yeah. And we come, the car was like on a side street. So we tear around the corner, and there's all these dudes sitting on your car. Like, we literally come flying around the corner at 100 miles an hour, and we pull up, and there's like 6 dudes, and they're like sitting on the car, and we're just like, holy shit. Like, I just remember being like, oh, fuck. And
never stopping to think, how would they know it was our car?
Yeah, like they were just like, they've been tracking us.
Yeah,
two guys with fucking, one guy with no money. And I have to say, it's not like either one of us was like, you know, I don't think we were dressed like homeless people, but like,
I remember what I was
like
wearing.
A biscuit above a homeless guy.
It was when I was going out with your sister, and she had bought me, or around. No, I had been going out with your sister. I wasn't going out.
You were wearing that orange
thing she got me. She worked at Banana Republic or something like that. That orange.
That orange. Yeah, and then I had on a green kind of a green jacket or something. And I remember peeling around the corner. We were like, holy shit. And of course,
We had no connection
yeah,
whatsoever.
we just sort of walked close to the
But
car.
We waited 4 days.
Yeah,
until they got off
exactly.
our car.